Oh, hello, everyone. Yes, so we're waiting on one more, but we have the majority of the group here, so I'm assuming
Oh, I
we.
see. Some aren't on video. Maybe that's why.
Huh?
Is everybody on video? I'm not seeing that many
Not
people.
everybody. Yeah,
Yeah, there we go.
there's Sean.
Oh, he's in the
I'm at the
forest. That's why.
forest.
It's my backyard.
Nice. Sounds good. We need to get in your backyard. Cool. Well, guys, first of all,
Next time we can
thanks.
have it in my place. No worries.
Thank you for being an entrepreneur yet again, in kind of kicking the tires on what we're doing with this strategy sprint. I'm Wade Hansen, was at the firm 94 to 99 and have always had a passion for education. And as my daughter started getting ready to go to college, I started understanding, like when we were kids and washing dishes at restaurants, that was sort of what you did. These guys are looking for exotic opportunities. And so part of what I'm ultimately trying to do is create an internship matchmaking, if you will. I hate calling it a portal, but it is kind of like a dating service to find, McKinsey alums that can provide an opportunity with kids of alums that need an opportunity, and kind of bringing people that are from different disciplines that, my daughter is into cybersecurity, not my sweet spot. But maybe we have people in the alumni network that are. So that's sort of the ultimate aim. And back in April, May, we ran our first sprint with, I think, about 25 participants. And each of those 5 teams worked on the opportunity to launch the portal. So basically, what does it look like? What are things that are important to college age kids as they go through their experience, looking for opportunities? And the strategy sprint idea actually came from one of my business friend's daughter who recently had graduated Columbia. And she said, well, like a hackathon for business people, they did these sprints. And so in their case, they were a little bit more contrived problems, probably things like we had at McKinsey for our interview cases, where you'd have an opportunity to solve a problem. And, I said, that's really cool. We probably have a lot of real examples, things we could be working on. Is it clean?
Guys,
I
put the
mean, you need to
umbrella.
come clean my screen next, please. So anyhow, we did the sprint. It was really fun. We had 5 presentations. Each of the teams had at least one non-family member mentor, and those groups presented. And frankly, I was blown away by how they thought about it. I realized, I'm way past college, and some of the insights that kind of stuck out to me, for a freshman or a sophomore, but not even necessarily looking for a job. They might just be looking for mentorship, or to, explore the idea of going into a career field that they know nothing about. And so, value add from our circle of friends could be spend an hour saying, what's it like, being an investment banker, or being, an engineer at XYZ software company. And then it's more in the junior to senior kind of transitions where they're looking for actual experiences. So again, I thought one size fits all. It clearly didn't. And so that was our first foray. This is not a for-profit job for me. So, we tried it again. It sounded like summer was a bad time for people. And so we didn't go for that round, but we do have a good little group. I think Natalia said it's 20 plus, something like that.
23 people so far, so
Right.
we'll get there.
And last time, because someone, most of you know this, I do alumni retreats. Sham and Rob have been to a couple of them. And when I presented this as a TED Talk, one of the ideas was, yeah, it's cool. We all have fancy networks and smart kids, and so we're kind of the rich getting richer. What could we do for, a nonprofit or other kids that don't have that connection? So we reached out to a couple of foundations that have college-focused audiences, and one of those participated. I think they sent 3 or 4 of their students. So each of the teams had one. I like the idea. I think in the long run, if we could find a consistent relationship with, a foundation that invested in this idea, it could go a lot further. But we did that. Do you remember, Natalia, what it was called? It was the Goldstein. It was the Cheryl, was it Sheryl Sandberg's husband that passed
So,
away?
yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah, so
Goldstein.
it was that foundation's executive director that put some students together for it. So really cool. I mean, I love the way this idea went from just a simple, I don't know who I don't know, but the group could figure it out, and now it could, really be something that is longer lived and legacy for a group of alums like us that wanted to put it together. So that's kind of the past. Natalia wanted me to give everybody a chance to say hi and who you are just quickly, so that might be a good idea.
Yes, because I also would like to see who is not on Zoom today, who was supposed to be, and I have an iPhone. I have no clue who the iPhone is. Let's start with the iPhone.
Hey, yeah, it's Tim DeGarve.
It's
You
Tim.
Yes.
hear
Okay.
me? Yeah, it's
Yes.
Tim. Yeah. I tried to dial in from my computer, but it said the invitation had been deleted, so I had to dial in from my maybe if you resend me the invitation, I can try
Yes,
getting on my
let
computer.
me send it one more time, just 1 second.
And by the way, I'm going to try and speed through this. I don't know if we all have an hour, but maybe Rob, just say who you are, and I'll get to the meat of the point.
So, Rob McNish, I live in Greenwich, Connecticut. I was in Dallas from 94 to 96, and then DC from 96 to 2014. I'm now still a consultant, but now at Alvarez and Marcel.
Sean?
Hi, everybody. Shyam Chidambar, DC office in the mid to late 90s. Left to join tech. Finished up at tech at that stage after a very nice exit with a company called MicroStrategy, which is still around after 20 plus years. Landed up becoming an educator, hence my liking for education. I'm a professor, and then I made some changes after that as well, added on some other things to my portfolio, coaching for one, executive coaching and the like. And also now I've become a micro VC. We've raised a small fund of about 5 million, investing in McKinsey oriented startups, actually. We had a great kickoff session for that just a few weeks back in San Francisco. Sharad, I see that you were here. You were there at that at that kickoff. So, and I'm still out in the DC area.
Recording in progress.
Oh, guys, I think I have two devices in one room.
Sharad, you want to go?
Hi, this is Shad. I'm also McKinsey alum 0709 in Delhi office, and very excited to be participating in this session. I don't know much about what we are going to achieve, but really I'm here to really help in whatever shape and form. My background is banking and AI. My last startup was Tukitaki, which was acquired in Singapore, and was roughly but have been working around banking, risk, fraud, and that sort of area. Now I'm building my another startup, early stage, very early stage, and another Gen AI startup within banking. So yeah, I would love to contribute here.
All right, Farah.
Yeah, hi everyone. New York office, 2001 to 2004. Was in the FIG practice, went on to banking, still in banking, but more so in fintech, really. COO of a financial wellness app. Yeah, it's me.
Cool. Sunil?
Hey guys, Sunil. So I was at the firm 94 to 07 in Southeast Asia and Greater China. Did then 13 years at Google, ran a fintech company in London, and we just started a new travel company, a travel platform here in San Francisco.
Awesome. Tim, I think you're rounding it out, and then I'll get started on what it is and what each of us will be doing.
I was in the New Jersey office from 2005 to 2009. Spent almost 15 years working at Sandoz, which is the biosimilars and generics leader worldwide, and am now exploring the next part of my career.
Awesome. Okay, so for me, I left the firm doing tech M&A, worked for Michael Dell for a couple of years, and then have been doing investment banking and other financial services to venture and private equity-backed companies. Like I said, I've got a daughter who is now her sophomore year at UW, and I'm guessing just based on the ages of all of us, that's kind of how we self-selected this as an idea. It's a relevant problem, or at least a relevant interest. Does everybody here have somebody that's going to be participating as a student, or are some of you just doing it because you want to?
My
So
son's
only
Yeah.
one as a, that's awesome. That's even better than I hope. It's hard when family members are also involved in the coaching side. So I was worried about that, but it went really well, and actually rave reviews from that. So here's the quick and dirty on it. A problem's presented to each of the teams. I think it's on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Saturday.
They have a meeting with their mentor or mentors to say, again, you're not supposed to be solving the problem. You're supposed to be teaching them how to structure their thinking. What can they get done in the time they have? Because again, this isn't like, a 100-hour, like hackathons. They actually, I think, go into a room and don't come out for a couple days. Like, this is something that'll be happening while they're going to school, while they have other homework and so on. So I think in the end, we kind of guesstimated teams probably put 8 to 10 hours during the week. Maybe some put more, but I don't think it was, heavier than that. We picked something in the end that didn't come with a big information package. It was, how do you launch this portal or this event? And so it was a little wide open. What we wanted to accomplish was clear, but it wasn't, here's a bunch of numbers, go grind them out. I'm going to confess that I had a really cool project for this one. One of my companies was presenting to private equity firms to be acquired, and I thought we could do as a problem, what are the growth opportunities for the company being sold to entice private equity to pay a higher price. But we're now under a contract. The company is really busy and they don't want to play that role. So there's an opportunity for us to collectively come up with something. If you're working on a project or have a company where having, 4 or 5 smart teams come back to you with some ideas, I think, again, it's not a global, the company is losing money, go in and fix it sort of thing. But you could imagine where 5, points of view on a particular issue. I mean, Shyam, I could imagine, how do you, expand on the venture business that you're putting together? Like, any one of us has a project that you could probably snap a little piece of and say, this could be interesting. But so that was my idea. I was going to come with that as the project, and it won't work. So I can come up with another one, but maybe somebody just right out of the gate has a good idea. We don't have to discuss it now because I know time is tight. So whatever that problem is that we decide to tackle, and I'll back up a second. Another recommendation that we had last time was to not just do it for a business, but maybe we do it for a charity, a foundation, an institution. I love that idea too. I had leads on 3 institutions. They're not well organized, and they couldn't present, a problem for us to work on in a 2-month time frame. So again, you might work on a board that has something like that, where they're either looking to get into a new area of service delivery, or how do we attract a younger audience to support this particular cause? Lots of cool things I could come up with, but let's take that offline. And if you have some ideas, send me a quick email and we can kind of put it back to this group to vote. Structurally, again, so the problems presented on Saturday, the teams kick off. The output is really what I'll jump to next. It was sort of like a 20-minute PowerPoint. I think most of the groups came in with 10 to 15 slides. Good to use basic frameworks, state the problem clearly. What is it you're trying to solve? What information did you gather that supported, your conclusions? And then, what is the actual recommendation and how do you implement that? All very, high level stuff. I'd say 4 of the 5 groups did really great. and all of them had something interesting. One group in particular it was kind of almost like too over the top. Like it's $2 million budget to launch the portal. I'm like, practically speaking, we don't have a $2 million budget. We're not, like Google launching a nonprofit venture. So anyhow, but it was fun. And I think the feedback from all the mentors was exceptional. They really enjoyed working with these students. The students got a lot out of it. And it's a little dot point on their resume to say, we participated in this. And then the winning teams, the top two, we gave a contribution to a charity that they selected. So I and a couple of the other judges, mentors, contributed to a pot, and then we just sort of split it up, 2/3, 1/3 to the charity they were playing for. I always thought that was cool when the Celebrity Apprentice guys did that. It's when money doesn't matter, something's got to matter. So winning for your charity is pretty cool. And so I think there was a lot of pride for the two teams that won to say that they had accomplished that. So I'll pause there because I don't think it's any more complicated than what I've described. But if anybody has, logistic questions, tactics.
How frequently do the mentors meet with the teams?
So I guess
my sense was it was about, once at the beginning, maybe via email if they had questions, but certainly, the night before the progress review, they didn't want people to come in with something schlocky. So my guess, it was somewhere between 2 to 5 hours, depending on the individual, how interested they were in the process. But again, it wasn't heavy. You're not doing, work with them. You're not structuring the analysis and parsing it out like you're the director. You really are the mentor, and you're trying to leave them with some skills, or at least a sampling. What did we as their parents go through as consultants? And I think that was also kind of fun. A lot of the ahas were like, I finally get mom or dad, like how their brain works and how useful that is solving problems, whether they're business problems or social problems.
Wait, do they all work on the same project, or do they work on individual projects?
Yeah, we present one thing, one situation, and then the 5 presentations should come back and address that. I think we have judges separate from mentors, but if we don't already, we will by that time.
We currently have a pool of people, who are you guys, who asked for specific roles, but it looks like we have only 4 mentors and we'll need more. So likely some of you who requested to be a judge will be assigned as a mentor, if that's okay.
Or asked to be one, yeah.
Or asked to be, yes. So we'll be sharing the groups, divisions later on the kickoff day, which is next Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific. So that's when you will get to see your team, and also you'll receive an email, of course, about that.
Yep. Any other questions?
And how many participants, how many kids participants do we have? What age groups, or what university groups are they kind of in?
So mostly we have, just a second, guys. I can't minimize.
Well, she's looking that up. I'll tell you this. We found it most helpful to align kids in a time zone. So, it wasn't a perfect blend of, one of this, one of that. If you were on the East Coast, we kept you with East Coast kids and mentors.
Correct.
Just for everybody. We had somebody from Singapore participating. So it was really kind of cool. But that's how we broke it down. And then, I think last time we had a couple kids that were seniors going to college, all the way up through last year in college.
Yes, and this year we're looking at the same.
Cool.
And the kids belong to like most of them has a McKinsey alum connections, or it could be anybody?
Well, all of them.
Well, so it's a good question. My original idea, because I don't have resources beyond parents that cared about their kid, is that it would be McKinsey alums kids. Now, would I vouch for, one of my, VCs that as a kid, or a lawyer friend? Of course. So it's not meant to be exclusionary, but I thought the McKinsey alumni person ought to be the one vouching for the participant. And if you are willing to do that, anybody is fine to add to that. So, again, we can add kids up to the day it kicks off. And it's always the case that I think, what did we say? We had 22, 23?
23 kids right now, yes.
Yeah, I'd love to see 5 more sign up because a few will drop when something unexpected happens, or there's a big, project delivered to them on a class that they're taking. But we can keep adding kids infinitely, either adding them to the same teams or creating new teams. But it's they're all working the same problem, the same timeline, and again, I would expect now that we've got last year's presentations available, they'll at least know what the end product looks like and what the bar sort of was.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just maybe I should have asked this question before, and I missed out on reading few of the emails. But in general, what as a group we are trying to achieve here? My personal motivation here is to really just help kids and equip them with the skills, which is could be a life skill.
Yeah, the sprint itself is to create more community and sort of more awareness of the idea that we can have an impact on these college kids. Like I don't have any particular route to do that. Although a lot of my, I'm sure you get hit up for this too. Oh, my kid's looking to interview at McKinsey. Can you talk to him? But I think there's more than just that McKinsey interview counseling that I would be happy to do. And as I talk to more parents in my circle, like I'm happy to talk to them about 2 or 3 topics I'm smart on. Would they talk to my kid if they wanted to be a lawyer? Of course. So it really is sort of just an organic way for us to contribute to the college experience, which has moved more toward getting these unique opportunities, and leveraging, frankly, the networks that we've built up over the years for something other than money, whether it's to help your kid, my kid, or a kid I don't even have a relationship with. I just think it's cool. So the sprint is to create that awareness and some community. Ultimately, the goal is to have a matching outcome where, like, next summer, if you had an internship, you could post it. I know Rob Alvarez has people coming in and doing that now, junior to senior, so he could present that to this circle of people. Anybody interested in that type of consulting could have a sponsor into the process, and vice versa. If you own companies, you're launching things, etc., would an intern be interesting to you? And frankly, the real personal reason that this kind of caught my attention was, I have a 18-year-old daughter. Would I send her to New York to do something with a stranger? Nah, probably not. I would probably say that's not really a great way to think about this. But if it was to somebody that was in an elite reputational network where everybody's got skin in the game, like, I think we all care as much about not blowing that as anything. So I would just feel more comfortable, even with any of you that I don't know, sending my kid to that company and know that I've got somebody who has an equal investment in their reputation in this community. So that's my personal, reason, what I was thinking.
I have a couple of quick questions. One is, so we want to aim it for students who are either in rising seniors or whatever it is in high school, and maybe freshmen.
Well, it's really college kids, but I just
College
wouldn't exclude a senior in high school
okay.
that,
You want
is
it to be for college.
ambitious.
All right.
Yeah, it's for college kids, really.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that should be fairly easy. There's a bigger population there, I think, at least for me, that I can dip into.
Well, and that's our age in the world.
Undergraduate students, I have access to a lot of them. I can recommend 3 or 4 people who might be really good for that. And they're not McKinsey people, obviously, but they're people I know. They're smart kids, that kind of thing. The second question I have is around the topic itself, right? I had an interesting thing about a year ago, or maybe it was a year and a half ago. This was Columbia Business School has a whole curriculum around thinking bigger. I think that's what they call it, thinking bigger. And they have a whole class. They divide them into teams and so forth, and sort of say, attack a big problem. I think they assigned the problem. And I was one of the 4 judges or something they had for this sort of thing. And it was a pretty nicely done thing. So I'm sort of taking some cues from there, saying attacking the same problem, but it's got a dimension other than a single business. It's a bigger idea that they're trying to go after. So, so let the kids sort of try to, scale a big mountain, kind of an idea. That was the point there. We may not, if you sort of restrict it to let's solve a problem for this business, it might be useful for the business, obviously, but and you can learn obviously the skills of analysis, presentation, etc. But you can do that with a bigger problem. That might be kind of an angle to take here, right? I'm just sort of
Well,
thinking.
look, I think for in 8 to 10 hours, scaling a big mountain pretty hard. Taking a quick tour around the base is maybe more realistic for a group that's not organized around problem solving yet. But let's take that offline. Anybody that's got an idea,
Okay.
your idea might be one of one, and it's going to be the idea. If we have a few, we can do a quick description, float them back out to this group and say, which of these, do you think would be most interesting and honestly most achievable, given that we're not solving the problem. We could solve any problem, or we could at least put a dent in it. But these are reasonably, unstructured kids that haven't had, classes that would make them a consultant. And as a strategy sprint goes, that's the deliverable. You need to actually, define the problem, come up with all the, the pieces of the solution with a recommendation and a conviction. This is why I think we should go this direction. And there'll be 4 or 5 other teams that are looking at that same thing, trying to come up with a better answer. Big problems. And again, I hope that this would be the case for summer internships, working for a nonprofit, working on a social cause, great things for students to get exposed to. My daughter did something for the Department of Defense, not a for-profit anything, but they were working on triangulating chatter to figure out where bad guys were. So a lot of math and algorithms and, stuff that wouldn't interest me, but it really interested her. So again, I'm not here to decide what is or isn't interesting. I think the market will do that, especially for the internships. And then I really would like to try and get that launched next year. So, as a result of this sprint and the last sprint, I'd like to get, a group of people working on even just a simple beta, or figure out, can we do this through LinkedIn or an existing app? It doesn't have to be fancy, but just start connecting us before too much time goes on and our kids are out of school and they're the ones hiring interns.
One sort of like, it's a little bit off the grid maybe, but you could ask them to come up with a company concept, develop a very basic website, come up with a name, come up with like a logo, and present their company. It doesn't have to be anything, like it could be, something super simple, like we're going to do consulting, we're going to do leadership development, we're going to do whatever it is, but we could then ask them to pull together like a few pieces that are also creative and simply analytical. But then they would actually present, okay, we built this website, this is what our logo looks like, this is what our name is. So you kind of have a little bit of the analytics and the creativity in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, something like, basically, you've got a budget of $1 million, pitch us on a company idea.
Yeah. And you can show us, and can you come up with like a real website?
Yeah.
And
the real website, I would worry about just time-wise. Is that practical? I don't know how long a website takes. I know that I'm terrible at it.
It costs something to do. The problem is, to do that would cost some money. So we don't want them to have to pay money to do it, right? So what they could do is they could show in a PowerPoint what it could look like or something.
Yeah. Like I said, any of these are good ideas. And in a world where we don't have, 1 or 2 a year, there could be 1 every month, and people that are able to participate that month can do it. There's infinite number of us as alums, and then the friends of us, if you kind of extended that circle, that would have, kids of this age that would find this valuable. It could grow in all kinds of cool ways. So for this one, unless there's any other questions, I'll give you back the day. but do
Can I
float me ideas on
can I
problems
interject
to be
one thing
solved.
here? Wait, part of the fund that we are doing is focus on McKinsey people, like I said earlier. We have 120 companies started by McKinsey people in our network, right? We can easily post a thing saying, "Hey guys, do you have a real project that you want to basically have a bunch of smart kids working on for you?" And we might get a bunch of proposals from these people. These are real companies, real startups doing real things, right? It's
Is
not.
there a place that you can centrally post that today? Because I mean, we'd really want to get the thing decided by early to mid next week.
We actually have even a jobs board, so we can actually create in that job board an internship thing, and it's fairly easy to do. It can be done quite quickly. We can do that.
Rob, did you have something?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No,
Oh, I
I don't.
thought you were going to say something. You look.
Nope.
So, I mean, we could actually get a real company, real startup facing a real problem, posting a bunch of questions, and there'll be 4 or 5 at least out of the 100 who'll say, "Hey, there's a thing I can use some help on," and that could be the problem we basically give these kids, right? And we can relay the information back to these folks, and it's all within the sort of broadly McKinsey family because these founders are all former McKinsey people.
Yeah.
What is this organization that you're part of, Sean?
It's something that I started along with a few other folks. It's called Marvin's Ventures, and I'll be happy to. Why don't you just pop your email on over here,
Sure.
and I'll make sure I send you information. I
Thanks.
don't want to chew up valuable time together to do that.
Well, look, if you volunteered to do that, unless anybody objects, I'd say let's post it and see if we can get a problem that has 8 to 10 hours with a team and a sponsor or a mentor that is a McKinsey person. So not something so global that you can't really get into it, but 8 to 10 hours of time. I think it'd be really
cool. One
cool.
company right off the bat, which even has a social dimension to it. It's called Benchmark Labs. It's on eco energy and all of that sort of good stuff. It's started by a guy called Ulrich Soderstern. He's a big part of our group here. He is a real company. It's got funding, it's got employees, it's got all of that stuff. I can ask him, "Hey, this is an environmental sort of deal. Construct a program that you're working on that McKinsey kids can help you with."
Check it out. I think, going forward, we can develop many of these, in advance and have them kind of ready to go. But it would be awesome if you want to use that network connection to pull one company, one, area that they would love some insights on, and that would lend itself to that type of a presentation.
Easily done.
Say, Sean, building on what you just said, we've got about half a dozen, like 8 to 10 hour type projects. We always have interns rotate through us, and we're in the climate space, right? So climate travel appeals to like every kid. So I'll send them to
the bigger sort of thing that they're all fighting for and all that, right? So
totally.
I think that's a really terrific one to go into.
Sunil and Shyam, would you guys mind together just presenting us one idea by kind of early to mid next week?
Yeah, Shyam, I'll ping them to you. You choose.
Sunil, do you want to just shoot me your email?
Yeah, tell them.
Well, Natalia will send everybody here everybody's email.
Okay,
so
cool.
We don't have to keep...
Then I'll get it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Rod, I have yours now, so I'll Rob, I can send you a separate email. I copied yours.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna say meeting adjourned unless there's any other really pressing questions. Appreciate everybody taking time to spend today, but also to consider the longer term sprint role, and hopefully, like I said, build a little bit more community toward the ultimate aim of something kind of longer standing where we can help ours and other kids get experiences and make some smarter decisions on their careers. That's really the ultimate goal.
Sounds great.
All right, thanks guys, appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Thanks, right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Natalia.
Bye-bye.
Bye.